excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
Hunrad Vogtvir. You're in dialogue here. You can learn about current events, influence the character you're speaking to, or even alter the course of the game's narrative. Your character's personal story, available options, laid on the right. Okay. Frankly, such excess can be tiring at times.
I believe there are those among us who share that sentiment. But such is our duty, is it not? To overcome base weaknesses and desires, so as to excel in our service to the God Emperor, the master of humanity.
He shakes his head and turns to you.
Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtveer, master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship rogue trader Theodora von Valancius. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
My name is Battsy.
My regards, Master. Or should I say, von Valancius, scion of a blessed rogue trader house in the service of the Imperium. Perhaps this kinship came as a shock to you. Understandably so, given that all evidence of the connection was lost in the generations separating you and Lord Captain Theodora. It required no small effort on the part of Her Ladyship's servants to discover and verify this blood tie, which has now made you one of the heirs of this dynasty.
Lord Captain, a strange title for Lady Theodora.
Such are the traditions of the Imperium. Lord Captain is the title that was established in the annals of the Lex Imperialis at the time when the first rogue traders entered the God Emperor's service, and therefore, it is sacrosanct.
Codex of the Imperium. Okay, that's... Why am I aboard this vessel? Why have I been brought here?
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the rogue trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor.
Whatever obligations you had.
Your former position may have been different from conventional service as part of one of the institutions of the Imperium, but from now on, a different fate awaits you. One chosen for you by the Lord Captain. I advise you to come to terms with this reality as quickly as possible.
You have a curious title, Master of Whispers. What are your responsibilities?
To put it plainly, I am the head of the network of spies and informers who serve the interests of House von Valancius. I uncover weak links both among Lady Theodora's retinue and in the ranks of her rivals. I eliminate our vulnerabilities and exploit those of others.
Tell me about the one whose ship I found myself.
I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back. Especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that whispers are wont to attract particularly close attention. Suffice it to say that Her Ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities.
Say I'm one of the rogue trader's heirs. There in Canada.
There is. And you will meet him soon enough.
So I assume you had some goal in mind when you just said, seek it out. You decided to seek me out. Let's address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far.
Okay.
The Lord's Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valancius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
Okay. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. Well, first of all, remove the helmet. Well, it is pretty cool. Like the hoses. Pretty cool. I might leave it on, actually. Let's see what we got here. We got a stub revolver, 7 to 11 damage, 15% armor penetration, 15% additional chance. I mean, there's a 15% chance for it to attack a second time. What is all this? 60% dodge, 30% dodge reduction. How much of a character reduces enemies' chances to dex? Okay, so there's 30, it's not 30%, 30 against them. Okay. 50% parry, free result. 6 shots. Okay. Intriguing. Not yet. Not yet. But we will be. But we will. Do. Alright. Objects in the game can be interacted with within a special way. They're marked with specific icons. Some icons allow you to study objects. Others will transfer the character to neighboring locations. All event. These icons become visible when your character is standing close enough to click left mouse button on the icon. Hold tab. If there's one thing I wish these games did, it would have an option. I wish that you could. Wish there was an option that I didn't have to hold tabbed. Wish. Because that's it. And
powers unseen uncover my path.
massive conference table on the real world. Resource incredibly valuable. Of incredible value. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Alright. Sacred mechanism has been interfered with without due reverence. The cycle of data processing cycle has tripled. Or that one. Oh. Incomprehensible. Okay.
I tread a path unexplored.
Wanna talk? Double gas. Candlelit altar with the copy of the 2,348th volume of the Lex Imperialis, the Codex of Sacred Laws. 2,348th volume. That is a lot of volumes.
The world will bow.
One of the fond Valancius trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
What's happening? Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
Jeez.
I am the harbinger of
You've been ambushed.
discord.
Battle begin. Cool. Okay. Oh. Oh. Turn-based on a grid. Yeah. Like most CRPGs. Movement points. Okay. All right, so let's take a look. So we're gonna do operative. So target gains 3 exploits. It looks like he already has some on him. Stack of 4 on him already. So
I need no guidance.
now he has stack of 7. Now, do I want to do the ignite, or I think I. I think we're just gonna shoot. 50% chance to do 20 to 28 points of
Ruin
damage. Let's see.
beckons.
22. It's not shabby. And you finished them off. Nice. I can scarcely believe
What
it.
suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan. I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have...
Drop that down just a little bit.
No difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
Okay. Got myself a map.
The world trembles.
Oh, and I can point and click on from here. Oh, that's so fuck. Oh, that's nice.
Time to leave my mark upon the galaxy.
Can I not pick anything up? Or is the search still smoldering? It would seem the cause of this was... Here we have the Infinity Stones. Violet alloy, which upon closer examination turns out to be a handcrafted object. Go to the bottom. The primitive tool are visible to the surface. You look closer, you can discern a strange, barely perceptible glow.
Embrace true power.
Strange object resembles sea
Let's
coral.
seize the opportunity. I tread a path unexplored.
Open the door. Grand voidship temple occupies the entire space below the officer's decks and is lit by countless candles and lumens. Thanks. A lot of people down there. Those carrying people around the decks move with a loud grinding noise.
Powers unseen uncover
Go
my
this way?
path.
Beg your pardon, Lordship. After the incident with the servitor, the passage is closed. Okay.
The world trembles beneath my feet.
Why'd y'all pull your guns out when I came around? Oh. There you go. Build a thread. That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora, says the man dressed in peculiar garb, his voice tight with tension, his face, half of which is covered by sin skin, is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide, practically an admission of heresy. Theodora, the tall, gray-haired woman, pins him with her gaze, her cybernetic eye flashing crimson, then suggests an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation, no worse than my snet. So now, could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Aeon 6, Elderthrad? We're going to survey the room. First impression of Elderthread, who appears to be about 30 years old, is of parchment-like skin stretched over a tightly bundled mass of sinew, implants, and bones. The nervously twitching fingers, the face twisted by a slight tic, and the jerky movements are all signs of some illness or defect that has taken over his body. In stark contrast to Elderthread, Theodora von Valancius features appear as if they were carved from marble, eternal and indestructible. Head raised high, proud posture, hands clasped casually behind her back. Everything seems to emphasize the difference in status between her and Elderthread. Behind two of them, you see two more men. One is a gray-haired officer of impeccable bearing who's studying the contents of his data slate, electronic digital, similar to a tablet. And the other is a behemoth bristling with holsters and baldricks containing all manner of weapons. Our second candidate has joined us. The dry female voice and the powerful feeling of being watched force you to look at Theodora. The rogue trader is looking straight at you, and her gaze, like herself, is predatory and oppressive. Battsy, approach. Give me your answer. Consider this hypothetical situation. Aeon 6, a new world on the fringes of the Koronus Expanse, high seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirit that protects those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crew sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Your skills reflect knowledge and capability. Some dialogue automatically initiate skill test. If a test succeeds, new information will be revealed or a hidden dialogue option will unlock. If your character is traveling with ally, the party member with the highest applicable skill is selected for each given test. That's awesome. So it's not even like select this and then see if you succeed or see if you fail. It's, hey, you succeeded. This is what you know. So the Xenos lore and warp lore, I succeeded both. I had a 95% chance with that one. And I had a 45% chance with that one? Is that what I'm seeing? Okay. These spirits could well be the natives' names for dangerous aliens. I would verify that it is indeed the case, and if the population of Aeon 6 engages in xeno worship. Or there are ways to confirm whether what is happening on Aeon 6 is witchcraft or not. It might cost several cycles to do so, but it will give us the answer. I believe I could use my personal abilities to ascertain whether there was sorcery, but it would require going down to the surface in person. These reports of spirits certainly sound like evidence of heresy. However, I would put my interest first, no matter what means I would have to use the riches of Aeon 6. I don't like that one. Aeon 6 must be purged for the good of the Imperium. I shall exterminate the heretical beliefs and other... I don't like that one either. This isn't bad, but I kind of want to use one of these since these were a skill test. And I succeeded. But I do kind of like that one. Well, I don't like that one because I don't want to say anything that's like, I'm going to lose people, but it will give us the answer. I don't want that. I like that one. That one. Reasonable and prudent, however, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor. Go away. Ethelthrod scoffs. Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you are simply unaware of their existence. I gave a strained answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Elderthrad. We're both servants of the God Emperor and Lady Theodora. Does it become anyone of our status to engage in petty feuds? I find your tone most disagreeable, Elderthrad. You will kindly alter the manner in which you address me, or else you will live to regret the consequences. Shut your mouth before I shut it for you. See, I'm much more of a sarcastic guy. I'm like, hey, I did what you couldn't. Insolent, ignorant upstart. How dare you? Elderthrad, I believe I gave you the assignment on the ship. Explain to me, then, why my senior congregator is still dawdling on about the officer's deck instead of proceeding to middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview. Oh, I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I, forgot the time. Valser, you're such a prude. Ceremoniously takes his leave without sparing you another look. I'm back torn. I want to take the hat. I want to take the helmet. I want to take the hood off again. So, Battsy, why are you here? Was it not you who sent for me? You have succeeded the opening that was offered to you in a woeful display of meekness. Admittedly, this tendency is equally strong in all who toil in the Emperor's service. Immutable hierarchy, absolute obedience, lickspitterly, compulsion to please. I value none of these things. From the moment my envoys came to you, the terms of your existence changed. My name is Theodora von Valancius Massimo Afscaris. I'm a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity, and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic, the warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's lights, where powers wicked and heretical reign and bow death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with there is to find thereon resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you, Battsy, are one of those with the von Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes. Does this mean there are other heirs? Naturally, some have yet to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Eldothrad may be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of responsibilities that may potentially fall upon his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling of him as a candidate. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of the warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of one of their closest allies. Theodora sighs, looks away pensively for a brief moment. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Hunrad Vodbeer served me for many years before he made his mistake. So, if you're satisfied with Eldothrad, then what is the sense in having this conversation? Why are you wasting your time on me? Impatience. I'm rather fond of impatient people. They are quick to resign themselves to circumstance and more eager to show initiative. Even if I do choose Eldothrad as my successor, I will still require loyal advisors. The skills and knowledge you acquired in your former life may prove invaluable here in the Koronus Expanse. It says in your profile that you bear the brand of sorcery, albeit sanctioned sorcery that is permitted in the service of the Imperium. I am accustomed to the presence of psykers at my side. More than that, I value unique abilities highly. Perhaps that's why I'm intrigued by Eldothrad candidacy. A rogue trader psyker could achieve great things indeed. However, psykers are fragile creatures, and as such, I would rather have a replacement standing ready in the event something happens to Eldothrad. Moreover, your remarkable mental abilities were noted in your profile. If you can find a way to exhibit them in the service of the von Valancia dynasty, well, so much the better. So, did I hear you correctly? The Masters of Whispers is related to you? His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly. As such, strictly speaking, could be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. His performance in his current role is satisfactory, or it used to be at least. Thanks for clarifying. May I ask questions now? The Vox affixed, which, that's the, okay. To Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life. Theodora wants to shut off the transmission. I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence required. Navigator translation? What are these you're talking about? Sometimes I forget people without direct access to Sheep's Bridge may not know how a void ship travels between the stars. Vessels such as this are capable of leaving real space and traversing into the warp, an otherworldly dimension of cruel and unthinkable forces. By entering it under the protection of the Geller field, we shorten the route to our destination, crossing distances that require hundreds of years in a matter of weeks, instead, sometimes in days or even hours. That is how humanity spread across the galaxy, and that's how we were able to build the Imperium, which spans millions of stars. Okay, so where's your ship headed? The Rykad system, the domain of the rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers and rivals. Only 3 rogue traders exist in the Koronus Expanse, and each one of them possess resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valancius in surpassing both of them in influence and splendor. I set the course for Rykad on the demand for a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet appraise you of the purpose of this voyage, but now is not the time. An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance, or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Geller field. Or perhaps there's something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all. Theodora laughs nonchalantly. Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by uneducated riffraff. Enough, Abelard. Such heresies amuse me. Such hearsay amuses me. Adara eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. The ship is thousands of years old. There's enough hidden nooks and malfunctioning aggregators and unused compartments to make ignorant folk speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who have yet to live. Those who yet live. So, what are my current responsibilities? Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Eldathrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide. There's ways I can start by not asking questions of this sort. I have no need for sacrifice. I will draw my conclusions when the opportunity... Okay, I have no more questions. In that case, I shall head to... Vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. Freezes, listening to the nods and draw up. Disturbances reported in the adjacent deck. Such null. If the need arises, protect the new blood. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you might have anticipated. Oh. Got some balls.
Blood and mayhem